Garlic scapes are so delicious, and most of the time when I cook with them, I just chop them up like garlic and use them in different recipes. But another really great way to enjoy them is to ferment them. So in this video, I'm going to show you the really simple process of how to ferment garlic scapes and make a delicious garlic scape paste. So this recipe is pretty simple, and I'm sorry if Sunny's breathing is really loud on the audio here. This is really simple to make. You will need a jar of some kind or a crock. You're gonna need a tamper of some kind to push it down in there. You will need some lemon juice. You're gonna need a little bit of salt. You will need something to weigh down your ferment, and I'll show you what I'm using in the video here in just a little bit. And then I do use a food processor for mine. You don't have to use a food processor, but I think it really makes the whole thing a lot easier.
So first we're going to trim our scapes a little bit. On the end here is the bulb where the flower would kind of show up. And I had these scapes in the fridge for a little bit, so my bulbs were a little bit dried out. And also the very end, which is kind of stringy, is really not very palatable even once fermented. So I am trimming just from right underneath the bulb, and you can see my daughter here and her little cat Mango are helping out. So I trimmed from underneath the bulb, but if your bulb is still pretty fresh and kind of juicy, you can definitely just trim off that little bit at the end, but I'm choosing to do the entire bulb. It just made more sense. After that, you're going to want to chop them up into smaller pieces. Around 1 inch or so is fine. Just makes it a little easier for the food processor. And then toss them in there just with this regular blade. If you don't have a food processor, you can absolutely just chop these really, really fine. You could maybe try grating them, but I think that would be an absolute pain. So I'd say just chop them super fine if you don't have a food processor. Then we are adding here 1 tablespoon of lemon juice and a half a teaspoon of salt, and we're just processing it all up here. Now I have about a half a pound, and the recipe I share on the blog does call for a pound, so you just need to double those amounts for the salt and for the lemon juice. Next, I'm just scraping it into a little jar here. This is a half pint jar, and my daughter here is helping me then tamp it down. You really want to press it in there until you get some good juice formation, because that liquid is what helps make the fermentation happen. You get that anaerobic action. So after we have smushed it in there really well, I'm just using a little spatula here to get all that material as much as possible down in there. You can see how it's kind of foamy, frothy there. So we have some really good juice. And then now I am weighing it down with this little thing from Mason Tops. They call them pickle pebbles. A bunch of different companies make these. I got these from Mason Tops, and they work pretty slick. You can even use a rock, or some people will fill a baggie with water and use that to press it down. These were not that expensive, and honestly, they work so slick, and they come in regular mouth and wide mouth. So I'm just putting that in there and pressing it down, you can see, until the liquid comes up and over a little bit. And the next thing we're going to use is this thing called they call them pickle pipes. Again, this is from Mason Tops. You can see it has a little hole in the top that's going to let gases and things escape as it is fermenting. You can also just cover this with a really lightweight like flour sack towel if you want to, but I think these are really nice at keeping things tidy. Before you put any sort of covering on there, you do want to clean it up a little bit, because any plant bits you have above that liquid, you're going to potentially get the chance for mold. So just clean it up really well, and then go ahead and put your cover on. And again, I'm just using the pickle pipe here, and then putting the ring on, so this keeps any bugs or funky stuff out and allows the gases to escape. So again, these are pretty slick, not too expensive. You can get them from different companies. So I'm just putting that on, and then I'm going to let it sit in a cool place, just kind of out of the way in my kitchen, where I can keep an eye on it for anywhere from 5 to 10 days. Now this was probably about a week, 8 days maybe. You can see the color's really faded, and that's when you can start to give it a taste and see if you like it. The longer you let it ferment, the tangier it's going to be. And it really depends too on the temperature of your kitchen. We don't have really great air conditioning, so things tend to ferment faster in our house. So once again, kind of that color has faded around day 5, 6. You can start tasting it, and then whenever it tastes as good as you want it to, it's ready to go. So here you can see a delicious, beautiful fermented garlic scape paste.
Super simple, super delicious. Some really great ways that you can use this is I'll put just like a dab and some cream cheese, and you can mix it up and make a really good spread. After you made like a stir fry or a pasta, just kind of toss it in there. Don't cook it, because you'll lose some of that fermented sort of taste and flavor. So just toss it in there. You can also just eat it plain on a spoon and then go kiss your spouse. It's a little bit strong still even after fermenting, but it's still really delicious. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next week for more farming, family food, and fortitude here at our Rough and Tumble farmhouse.